Amid the dazzling lights of Hollywood, where the public only sees glamorous gowns and million-dollar smiles, lie truths that could make anyone pinch their nose. There was a starlet who once stepped onto a film set wearing the same dress she had worn for 3 days straight. There was also a leading man who seemed suave, yet kissed his co-star while his dentures hadn't been cleaned for days. Few would suspect that these quirks, once dismissed as merely eccentric, could lead to illness, disrupt filming schedules, and cause career opportunities to slip away right at the golden moment. So who were the faces behind these odor disasters, and what truly happened to turn these silver screen legends into the kind of nightmare no one wanted to get close to? The blacklist below will ensure you never look at them the same way again. 1. Marilyn Monroe. The smelly shooting day and the suspected skin condition that nearly made Clark Gable throw up on the spot. The first name no one would ever expect was none other than Marilyn Monroe. When people think of a beauty icon, they immediately picture shimmering platinum hair, porcelain skin, a smile that could melt any heart, and that legendary line about how she wore nothing but Chanel No. 5 to bed. Yet behind the glamorous lights and flawless frames of Hollywood lay a truth that would make anyone's eyes widen. There was a day on set when Marilyn almost made the king of Hollywood, Clark Gable, throw up right in front of the camera just because of the smell. In the summer of 1960, the cast and crew of The Misfits were stationed in the Nevada desert. The scorching sun poured down with temperatures over 40 degrees. The wind carried sand into every crevice, even slipping under layers of makeup. In the makeup tent, Alan Snyder, Marilyn's makeup artist for nearly a decade, prepared not only lipstick powder and mascara, but also industrial wet wipes. A bottle of Odorono deodorant specially ordered from New York, and a container of medical talcum powder normally used for dermatitis patients. He knew all too well about Marilyn's delicate habit, showing up on set in the same dress from the day before, wearing the same unwashed underwear underneath, and according to whispers from her personal assistant, once visiting a Beverly Hills dermatologist for irritation caused by tight clothing and a lack of proper hygiene. Joan Reardon, a wardrobe assistant, told the Los Angeles Times in 1983, "I was standing just a few steps away from her, but it felt like inhaling a thick cloud. Not the alluring scent of Chanel, but Chanel that had been cooked for hours under the desert heat, mixed with sweat and a stiflingly personal odor. It clung to the throat, and I wanted to gag right then and there." That day, director John Huston was preparing to film a sunset kiss scene, the moment 20th Century Fox had billed as the most romantic scene of the decade. Clark Gable approached, trying to keep his composure, but unconsciously tightening his grip. The camera rolled. Marilyn leaned in, lips drawing close. Gable suddenly winced and turned his head slightly away. Houston called cut and asked for another take. On the second try, Gable leaned toward his assistant, Edward F. Purdom, his voice strained as he fought the urge to gag. "Eddie, this woman's smell could take down a horse. If I have to get that close to her face again, I swear I'll pack my bags and head back to the hotel right now." Fred Collins, a lighting technician recalled, "We were standing several meters away and still caught it in the face." After that scene, Gable disappeared for almost an hour, and Houston had to change the camera angle so they wouldn't have to get that close again. The Nevada State Journal merely hinted at the incident. Not every moment on a film set smells like roses. But for those in the crew, that Nevada sunset wasn't just scorching, it was thick with a smell no one wanted to remember. If Marilyn had made the King of Hollywood do everything he could to keep his distance, then the silent film legend up next created an odor disaster so severe that the United Artists editing room had to throw open every single window for hours, just so everyone could breathe. 2. Charlie Chaplin. The heavy smell habit that made everyone keep their distance. Charlie Chaplin is still revered as an immortal icon of laughter, a genius who earned the world's applause with the Kid City Lights and Modern Times. But for those who once worked alongside him, memories of Chaplin weren't only about ovations, they also carried a smell trauma no one wanted to recall over lunch. Crew members said Chaplin had a creative principle that was disturbingly extreme. When inspiration struck, he would absolutely not bathe, change clothes, or even wash his costumes. In 1928, during the filming of The Circus, Chaplin wore the same thick wool suit for 3 straight days, under sweltering heat, with a shirt beneath soaked in sweat. When a wardrobe worker timidly suggested a change, he just smiled and replied, "If I bathe, all my inspiration will wash away with the water." But the nightmare didn't stop there. Chaplin almost never washed his hats or coats. The famous bowler hat from City Lights lived through the entire filming season without being cleaned once. By the end, the mix of sweat, tobacco, brandy, and studio dust had seeped in so deeply that anyone who touched it would immediately grimace and pull their hand back. A rumor from a United Artists wardrobe worker claimed that after that season, the hat was sealed in its own cloth bag, and no one ever dared open it again. In the summer of 1931, while editing City Lights at United Artists, the small cramped room was shut tight to keep dust out. Chaplin walked in, greeting everyone warmly and talking with excitement. 10 minutes later, editor Henry Bergman quietly cracked a window. 5 minutes after that, another window flew open. Eventually, every window was wide open, not because of the heat, but because people couldn't breathe. A technician told Variety magazine, no one dared say anything. But as soon as Chaplin left the room, we'd all rush into the hallway just to get some air. Longtime co-star Edna Purviance once risked it all by spraying a few drops of Guerlain on Chaplin's collar before a close-up. She recounted half-joking, but with a nervous laugh, "I only did it to survive that day." Charlie didn't notice a thing and just kept acting like nothing had happened. One former lighting crew member even revealed at an old reunion, "One day, Charlie stepped right up to the camera to check the frame. I was standing just behind him and had to hold my breath. I swear to God, I've never smelled anything like that in my life." In a 1952 BBC interview, Chaplin calmly stated, "On film, everything must be flawless. In real life, I don't need to care, and I don't need anyone else to care either." He truly did.